I can't believe I'm up to my second week here in South Coast, New South Wales. This week, what I've actually done is I've spent the first 4 days down in Bermagui. Now, this place was unbelievable. Had a really, really, really nice vibe about this whole joint. And a few of my friends messaged me on Instagram. They're like, listen, you got to get yourself down to Bermagui. So I did, and I don't regret it. I'm going to stop back past there on the way back because I want to do a podcast with one of the guys. There's a couple of really nice places there for coffee as well. An espresso place called, I think it's called Mr. Hope, but there's a coffee place down the bottom of the street. Steve owns the place, and it is unreal. And there's also an organic little shop at the top of the street. Now, that organic shop has some devilish chocolate. I really, really misbehaved myself at that place. Bought a lot of coconut rough chocolate, and yeah, I was feeling a bit coconut rough myself after I polished a couple of kilos of that down. But all in all, it was it was a time where I sort of parked up because the week before I was staying in national parks and it was a bit more, I guess, off the grid. I really needed a hot shower as per last entry where I was talking about, not having a hot shower for a while. I basically sat under a hot shower for about 25 minutes a day. Now, I didn't know that there was about to be this huge, huge storm hitting the coastline. There was a massive low pressure system coming up and about to hit the whole joint. So they were expecting 12 to 15 foot waves. The place was gnarly. The amount of water that was about to be drenched over Bermagui was ridiculous. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to wrestle with my awning. I have had some amazing Royal Rumble sessions with my awning, trying to set that up by myself. So I set that up, and I set up a tarp in the first couple of days. So I set that up and I thought, yep, cool, I'm going to bunk here for a little bit. I've got power. I can set everything up. It's going to be all fun. It's going to be great. And Mother Nature quickly reminded me of her fury and how much she is the boss, because my tarp, I was just sitting in my van and all I could hear was ding, 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 ding. It had ripped my tarp from the ground, and the pegs were just smashing my freaking van. So yeah, don't do that. I've learnt my lesson there. And another thing is probably don't leave stuff outside when it's windy. Everyone out there is probably thinking, we already know that, but it's so easy to forget. After that day, I felt like I was a little bit more prepared to I guess, reconfigure my van. Like my van sport was set up more for parking into a place, setting up my awning, ripping everything out, and then putting everything in its place and basically creating a nest where I felt I needed to really make it a bit of a hybrid. I needed to have the van set up because my van isn't set up so I could be inside and still have my lunch or still have my dinner. If I wanted to whip up something on the pan, I could do it. So once I had that in my mind, I was like, all right, cool, let's go to Mitre Tent. Let's go down there. Let's start to set up your van so it is more, like I said before, a hybrid and easier to just move around within the place. That's a big thing, especially when it's pissing down, raining outside. I don't want to be sitting outside trying to make a steak or trying to make some veggies or whatever, and I'm freezing tits. So once I changed that mindset, bang, game on. I'm so happy with how I've set it up now. I've put my seat down. So I've got a 3-seater in my Volkswagen. As I put my seat down and I put some, like what I've got here, just like a melamine board or a chip board. And then I've sat my chopping board and I've sat my stove, and then I've put all my veggies at the front. And basically I've really set up. So if I want to park up on a beach or something like that, I can just open my door if it's a nice night and I can still cook there. Otherwise, I could sit in my back seat or where everything's set up in the back, and I can basically cook from my bed, which is awesome, I think. So once I got that set up, I was like, I've spent 3 nights here at the caravan park. I should start getting back and testing this out. I bought some cool hanging baskets, all my undies and socks in the hanging basket. I've got my veggies, I've got my plant there. Everything's in its little place now. So I wanted to go trial, because when you're at the caravan park, you're kind of spoiled. You've got power, you've got this, you got that. So I wanted to really get out there and test this van. So we're looking at about Wednesday now. I decided to get on the move. Before I wanted to actually keep progressing up the coast, I thought I just wanted to go camp and watch and listen to the waves right on the water, because there's this place at Moorhead Beach where you basically park in this back street and you're right there on the water. The water's a stone's throw from your van, and no one drives down and asks you to leave. It's quite good here in New South Wales, because I met some guy and he was like, you can actually sleep in your van if it's not on signage. If they say, you can't sleep there or you can't be there, there, well, that's obviously illegal. But if they don't have a sign there for you, you can actually just pull your van over and sleep, which I think's fucking awesome. We can't do that in Vic. So I did. I parked up behind this little beach. I learnt pretty quick that time to prepare and everything for my food is so essential. When you're traveling, for me, I don't have all the electrical stuff where I can just set up my awning, set up everything really quickly. If I'm going to be cooking inside my van, I can't have my fucking doors open because the bugs will join me for dinner, and I don't want that. I learnt pretty quickly after that night. I'm like, this is so good, and I'm just like cooking and got lights on and this, that, whatever. And then when I went in to jump in my van at night, I've got 150,000 bugs joining me for my bedtime. That wasn't very fun at all, as you can imagine, and everyone knows that the sound of a mosquito, you're asleep and you can just hear, and then it stops, and then you're like, holy shit, it's on me. And you're just flapping around and you're just trying to find it, and then I'm turning on the light, and it's just like the top of my van is freaking covered in bugs. So yeah, I gassed the joint. I jumped out and decided that there's only one thing I could do in this whole situation, and it was just fumigate the whole joint. So I did. I just went nuts. I sprayed the absolute bejeebies out of the van, sprayed it, and then had a headache for 2 days after that. I completely fucked up, I didn't nail that, but I learnt my lesson. In the morning, I decided to take off and make my way up the coast. I was pumped. I thought to myself that, you know what, you can't stay in Bermagui for too long, even though this place is majestic, it's amazing, but I had to keep moving and make my way up to Batemans Bay. But when I got there, I was kind of a little bit, I don't know, there was something about the vibe there that I wasn't really feeling. There'll be people out there that will disagree. The actual place, and aesthetically it looked cool. I was told that the oysters there are amazing, so I stopped in, asked a local where to find the best oysters, and I was told if you go to a place called Booneys. Now, my old man's name is Bernie, and it's called Bernie's Fish and Chippery. Now, I found this, and it's in Batehaven, so it's just outside of Batemans Bay. Highly recommend. It's about $1 an oyster, but instead of paying a little bit more, because in town they bump up the prices a little bit, the cheeky buggers. But Bernie, on the other hand, he's fair income. He's good, but take cash, okay? Because if you don't have cash, you're not going to be able to get your oysters, because he doesn't deal with cards. So Bernie's a cheeky bugger. Bernie's like, mate, I only sold like 10 oysters today. When really we know Bernie, he's maybe 100 times that. But we're not going to say anything, Bernie, even though I just did. And after that, I was like, I think it's time. I'm not really vibing it. I'm going to keep trekking my way the coast, because the swell was pumping. It was banging. I'm talking 12 to 15 foot. I sat in my car and I was just watching the waves crash in, and it was something to see. It was like Mother Nature was flexing her muscle. And I thought, the further up the coast I go, there's a surf town and a couple of surf locations called Ulladulla and Mollymook. So I drove all the way up there, which is about 180 k's. I drove up to Ulladulla, and I actually found this place just before Ulladulla. There's this little point called Dolphins Point. Now, Dolphins Point, so it's got this really open kind of inlet, and then it sort of goes out into the water, and it's beautiful, and you can park your car right up there, and you can see the whole sunrise. So I've decided I was going to park my car the first night on the Thursday and park my car there, just get my bearings for the place, park up, and I start to map out what is around the area where I want to go suss out, look at some reviews. I'll have this app that my friend suggested called Wanna Surf, which has got some breaks, so you can find out where the breaks are if you're interested in having a surf, and basically got into the whole vibe and into the whole mindset of where I am now. After I did that, I parked up there. I realized that this is a killer spot. I'm definitely vibing this place. Started living out of the back of my van. I was actually just happy to start at Dolphins Point, and then I worked my way up to Ulladulla, checked out Mollymook, and I started to find where I liked in the place. It was truly a place where you could feel that there's a pulse there. That you could feel that it was like a little surf town. Everyone knew each other, which I really liked. And they're really nice. Everyone was like, oh, what about your Victorian number plates? Are people going to ask you, what you're doing here? But it wasn't like that at all. Everyone was really friendly. And there's a couple of really killer spots there where you can just park your van up, again, on the beach and sleep the night. And that is something that I really love about this place. New South Wales being able to give you that opportunity to park your van if you find a place and just sleep in your van. I think that's a really good thing that the government do. So good on you guys. Because Victoria, they tell us to ship on. So I really like that. When you come to Ulladulla, there's a couple of great point breaks and a couple of great beach breaks that I really love. You've got collars, suicides. Where else? Collars, got suicides, Dolphins Point, Bommies, Rennie's Beach. There's just so many. It's a froth fest. You're just always on your board the whole time. I think I was doing 2 or 3 surfs a day. I'd wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, surf. I'd have something to eat and get a coffee, back into the surf. Then in the afternoon, you just surf. It's just constantly the thing to do there. So I was really finding it hard to move on from this place. I think I'm falling in love with all these places that I go to, and I'm finding it tough because Bermagui did it to me, and now Ulladulla and Mollymook have done it to me as well, where, you just stop in there and it's just got this really nice presence about the place. And, there's so many things around the area where you can just go and get some great fresh produce, and it's really important, especially when you're living out of your van. You just want to make sure that you're not always buying takeaway food. And for me, with my background being a chef, I thought to myself, this is an opportunity to eat well. This is an opportunity to prepare. This is an opportunity to then execute, some goals. I feel like I've set myself up with a routine now that I can manage. So once I get to about 3 or 4 o'clock now, I know that I need to start preparing my food, and I know that I need to, because I don't like eating when it's completely dark. Obviously the bug thing kind of scared the shit out of me, because I don't want a van full of bugs again, because I had a shocking night's sleep. But it also has given me a chance where I can just prepare everything early, eat, and then I'm done. And that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. I highly recommend that when you're on a trip, is just to get yourself into that routine and into that flow of, let's get up when it's the sunrise, and let's go to bed not too late, so you can see all these beautiful things that Mother Nature provides us. This is what that week, or this week, has been, especially for me. It's just been these little things that I've taken to, and then I've really appreciated a lot more than I would have even back at home, or even the first week. I've just started to understand that how important it is just to take an afternoon, and whether that just be some breath work, or whether that just be reading, or not doing a fucking lot, and setting up some goals, that's equally as valuable as trying to do a million things. I think it's even more important. And, I'm the kind of person that naturally likes to do a lot, but this trip, and especially this week, has just made me realize that it's still good just being with yourself, but also enjoying the whole day and not rushing yourself. At the moment, I've just pulled up in my new site, where I don't want to tell you too much because it'll be in next week's, and I've got an amazing podcast coming up with one of the managers here at the National Park where I'm staying at in Bendalong, who have been hit by the fires. Yeah, it's been catastrophic here, but there's some amazing stories, and I'm very excited for the next episode because I'm having a chat with him today. Something that's only just recently happened. This place went through hell with the fires. So, make sure you hit subscribe, and that video will be coming next week. But I want to leave you on a big thank you to everyone that messaged me. It's been a tough week this week. I on Thursday or Wednesday, I lost my dog. I'm now not being home. It's been really hard trying to keep myself upbeat. For anyone who loves animals, and that's most people, you understand how hard it is when you lose a companion. And Frankie has been with me for 12 years, and my old man gave me a call and said that he had a heart attack and passed away. So that was really hard to take. But it's easy to sit down and get really bummed about the whole situation with Frankie. But I went for a good surf. I had a big cry, and I really started to think about all the good times that I had with Frank. And that's all it's about, really. It's about celebrating how many good times I had with my little pup, and everyone who messaged me and said some really nice things. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And if I didn't get back to you on Instagram or on message, I'm sorry, but I've been in and out of reception, but I am very, very, very appreciative. So that's me done for this week. I've rambled on a little bit. I hope it's been interesting having a listen. More to come. Thank you so much again for joining us. And this is me out for today, and I'll see you next week with this one. Plus, guess what? I'm going to start doing some cooking little episodes as well, just to change it up so you can see what I get up to in my van and how I live, because that is something that I think could be interesting for you to check out. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Shawnee and Friends is out. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching me, and I'll see you on the next one.